Welcome to our webinar today. My name's Donna and we have a very special guest with us today. We have Richard Kavanagh. For those of you who have heard about Richard but don't know a lot about him, I thought I'd do a little bit of an intro. Richard is Sydney based. And some of the things that I didn't know about him was that he has a black belt in karate. He's also a Golden Gloves boxing champion, and not to mention the jiu-jitsu blue belt, which I thought was pretty impressive. In his spare time, he fits in being a husband, father of 3 children, and he sometimes likes to do a little bit of surfing. Some of the other things that I've got here is Richard is a 4 times Australian Session Stylist of the Year. He's a global artist for Redken. He's a creative director for Rodney Wayne and for GHD. He's had 30 plus years in the industry, and that's been spanning salon, platform, celebrity, editorial, runway, working on thousands of shows and shoots for international celebrities, working with luxury brands and publications, and just to give you a few names, Giorgio Armani, Vogue, Elle, Harper's Bazaar, Prada, and Marc Jacobs, and many, many more. But today, Rich is going to be talking as co-founder and co-CEO of PIIQ Digital. And at this point, I'm going to hand over to Richard to take us through the rest of the presentation.
Yeah, thanks very much, Donna. Wow, what a great intro. Thank you. That's very kind of you. So I'm going to jump straight into it, guys. For many, many years, there's been 3 big questions in the hair industry. One of those is, how will technology integrate to enhance the client experience and empower the stylists to do their job better? The second one is, how can we make sure that every client receives a full and thorough consultation at every service so we can ensure that we're giving them exactly what they want and need? And lastly, how do we ensure that every client gets a recommendation for take-home hair care and styling? And I know that these are 3 big questions that have been plaguing the industry for many, many years. So I want to drill down into those today and talk about a number of points which might help to address those things. The first thing I want to talk about is I'm going to share with you some really staggering statistics that we've discovered recently. I want to talk to you about what clients expect from you as a professional. We're going to talk about why effective consultations result in better client retention and ultimately in higher revenue, because at the end of the day, in business, we are there. Business is basic maths, right? More money in minus the costs of the business equals more money left over at the end. So that's all good. I want to talk about some of the psychology behind why we don't recommend retail. And I'm going to also touch on the ultimate social media strategy to help you get more clients into the salon. So there's a lot to get through, and I'm going to power on into it. What we are going to do is I'm going to share with you a game changer for the salon industry and a revolutionary consultation experience with PIIQ. So let's touch on some stats. 2 of the biggest challenges our industry face are effective consultation and retail recommendation. Interestingly enough, 95% of stylists believe that they do a full and thorough consultation for each and every client. Makes sense, right? We all think we do it. However, only 7% of clients feel like they've ever had a consultation. I mean, that to me is absolutely staggering. The disparity there is incredible. And the big problem with retail recommendation is that the biggest missed revenue opportunity for salon owners and the easiest way to leverage profits in your salon is through retail salons. It's the biggest missed revenue opportunity for salon owners. However, don't just take that from me. I want to share with you some insights from what one of our industry icons has to say. You recognize this woman? For those of you that don't know who she is, this is Tabitha Coffey. I'm going to click on this and play you a little quick video.
Hey, I'm Richard Kavanagh. We're here in Melbourne at the Hair Expo to have a chat with American TV show host and Australian expat Tabitha Coffey. And we're here to talk to her about consultation, retail recommendation, and to share with her a little secret.
So the statistic is that 97% of us as hairdressers say we do a consultation every time. Only 7% of our clients say they've ever had a consultation. That discrepancy means that we're doing it in the wrong way. We're not having the right conversation. When I tell hairdressers that, and I teach classes and we talk about that statistic, people start to realize maybe I'm not doing it properly. Maybe I need some help with this.
Can I show you something?
Yeah. Are you kidding? Wow. That is really, like, really unbelievable. That's exceptional. That's a groundbreaker. First of all, the technology is amazing, and I love that there's technology into it. It's so easy. The fact that it helps us do our job and have a client feel like, you know, they're heard, they're found out about, and their face shape's in there, and their, you know, their favorite model popped up on the screen of, I'm just like Gigi, you know, like all of that kind of stuff. I don't remember anything coming before that you could even say this thing changed it this much. It really, it's remarkable, and I can't wait to see them everywhere, and I can't wait to see hairdressers thrive. And it will change people. And it's really amazing to see that, and really, really so fucking cool. It really is. It's just really fucking cool. I'm sorry.
Only Tabitha could get away with that, right? She is quite an insight. Now, I hope you could hear the audio there. I tried to turn it up for you. So the question I would ask is, how do we currently perform our consultation? I think you'd agree that we're all on a kind of a spectrum. If you have a salon of, let's say, 10 stylists, you'll have one or two of them that are outstanding at performing their consultation. And you'll have two or three of them that are, you know, way at the other end of the spectrum. And then you'll have a bunch of them that are in the middle. And I know for myself that I actually fluctuate along the spectrum from day to day, from I sort of do it to all the way through to doing a really awesome job of the consultation. It can be really challenging to actually systematize that process so that you get the right answers from the questions that you're asking. And, you know, on those days where you're just kind of sort of doing your consultation, how many of you guys have heard anyone say these kinds of things, like, same as last time? What about this one? So what are we doing today? Or here's another one that I've heard in the consultation. How was your weekend? So I think you would agree that it's a very challenging process to get people to do the consultation effectively. What I want to talk about is, what does a client expect from a consultation? So again, your clients will sit on a spectrum from all the way from, look, don't talk to me, to give me every single detail, a price, a quote, and everything I need to know. In fact, many years ago, working in the salon, a colleague of mine left the business. He left hairdressing altogether to go and pursue another career, and told all his clients to come to me. The first time I sat down with one of his clients, and he sat in my chair, I went up, ran my hands through his hair, and started to talk to him. I asked him a question. The guy just about jumped out of his skin. He said, "What are you doing talking to me? Why are you talking to me? Don't talk, just do it." And so it was really interesting to note that there are clients on that end of the spectrum that really just want you to take charge and tell them what you should be doing, or just do it. And there are clients who bring pictures in to show you. There are clients that want to really have a deep conversation. And as I said before, there's the full end of the spectrum where people want everything. But what clients truly expect from a consultation, and this comes through research that we've done, is that ultimately they want to have a lifestyle analysis. So what sort of lifestyle do they lead? They want to have a face shape, skin tone, and hair type analysis from you, the professional, and ultimately a professional recommendation for what would be the ideal shape, color, finish, and take-home hair care and styling regime for them. That's what a client expects from a consultation. Now, I know many of us as hairstylists obviously feel that we're doing that, but I wonder how many of you notice that when you're going through the motions, you put your hands through the client's hair, you ask a couple of general questions, and you make a bunch of assumptions based on your experience and your knowledge. So what you're doing in your mind is doing a consultation, because you're doing a hair type analysis by feeling it, by looking at it, by running your hands through it, by checking for growth patterns and previous color, etc. You're asking a couple of general questions like, how was your weekend? Where, what's happening at work? How's the family, etc. You're doing that lifestyle analysis, but you're not necessarily sharing that information with the client. So they're feeling like they're not necessarily hearing what you're thinking in your head. So let's talk about why an effective consultation increases revenue, increases trust with your client, and increases loyalty. I want to talk about something that happens in the client experience in the salon and in the hairstylist's experience in the salon. This is the subconscious jeopardy that's involved in the client-stylist relationship. Now, you'd agree that hairdressers and clients have a very, very unique type of relationship together. And there really is nobody else on the planet that you share a relationship with like the hairdresser-client relationship. However, Tabitha points out very clearly in her presentations that there's a huge amount of anxiety on the client side that we're not necessarily aware of. So I just want to break that down here. On the client side, what they're often thinking, and subconsciously, of course, so these are not conscious thoughts, but they're very subconscious and they sit in the back of the mind. They're wondering, do they get me? Do they really understand who I am and what my life is about? And do they get me? Will I look good? Because I'm putting my own sense of myself, how I present myself to the world in this person's hand. Will I look good at the end of it? Will I look like me? If they do this new hairstyle and this new color and this new shape and this whole new style, well, am I going to be able to maintain it at home? Is it going to be right for my hair type? And a lot of clients say this. They just don't feel cool enough when they come into the salon. They come into the salon and they feel like there's all these, amazing, bubbly, vivacious people. There's good music and there's great coffee and cool magazines and people are put together well and their hair and makeup looks good. And clients feel a little bit intimidated by that. And they do feel, and they say this often, I don't want to look dumb by asking the wrong questions, right? I don't want to look like I don't fit into the social group. And as hairstylists, we're often very empathetic. So we get a sense that there's this sort of subconscious underlying anxiety that's sitting there, even though we don't necessarily know what it is. And that, coupled with our own anxieties, for example, in the back of our mind subconsciously, and these are not necessarily thoughts that are in the forefront of our mind, they're not even consciously formed thoughts, but they just buzz away in the background. There's, oh, I hope I've made the right recommendation. I hope I got this person. I hope I've made the right choice in what I'm saying, because, you'll agree, you could go in a multitude of different ways with cut. You could go in a multitude of different ways with color. You could go in a multitude of different ways with how you finish or style the hair. So I hope I've made the right choice here. I don't know how many of you ever feel like this, but I know I personally used to feel like this in the salon. Even though I had a deep understanding of the science of color, I'd often sit there with my fingers crossed at the basin as I rinsed it out, literally with my eyes closed. I hope it turns out. I hope it turns out. I hope it turns out. The other one that we struggle with is, same as last time, particularly on a regular client or even somebody who's been 2 or 3 times before and we're starting to get to know them. Perhaps we've given them a new look. For example, perhaps we've given them a new fringe or new bangs and they come and they go, I loved it last time. Could you just do it the same as last time? And you're thinking, you're saying, sure, no worries. But you're thinking, wait, it's been what, 6 weeks or 7 weeks? So that means it must be 3 centimeters, maybe it's 3.5 centimeters. I hope I can follow the same pattern. There's that whole subconscious chat going on. And ultimately, I hope they like me and I hope they come back, because if they don't like me, and if they, even if they like me and they don't really love the hair I've done, they might give me a second chance to do it differently. But I hope they like me, because if they like me, they'll come back. And if they come back, then I'll keep getting money. And if I keep getting money, then I'll keep surviving. And if I keep surviving, then I can eat and I can have a roof over my head. And ultimately, there's a deep subconscious sense of a need to connect in order to survive. And I know that sounds extreme, but if you extrapolate the idea out to its extremes, that's where you end up. So it's no wonder we don't recommend retail, given the fact that there's so much jeopardy involved in that relationship. You've got a client with anxiety, your empathy, you sense that, even though it's not necessarily at the forefront of the conversation. You might be having a nice, bubbly, friendly conversation. You've got a whole lot of background worries going on, hoping that you'll get the job right. And even many, many years into a career and salon owning, logically, we all know we should do it. But the reason that we don't do it is because it simply doesn't feel right. It makes sense logically, but it doesn't feel right. Did you know that globally, 93% of clients visiting a salon are not recommended any take-home hair care or styling? Now, in Australia and New Zealand, we're actually much, much better than the world standards. We are at about 11% of our clients are being recommended some retail. 11%. That means 9 out of 10 of our clients are not being recommended any take-home hair care or styling, but 85% of them would purchase something if it was recommended. Now, I know of a company recently that gave a bunch of mystery shoppers $250 each to go out and purchase their product. They were specifically tasked with going to the salon for a service and purchasing their brand's product. Now, the kicker was they weren't allowed to say the name of the brand, or they weren't allowed to specifically ask for that product. They wanted to be recommended it. They were allowed to say, hey, my friend uses XYZ and I love the smell of it. Would it work for me? Of that target group, only 17 of them came away with either a sample or some product. And one of them, who went specifically to buy this brand of product, was offered a different brand of product. So really, you know, there's something in this. And I believe it comes down to that psycho-emotional jeopardy that we talked about just a minute ago. The fact that, you know, you want this person to like you and you hope that you do a great job, but you don't want to come in there and say, hey, by the way, do you want to buy this? It feels a bit like one of those, you know, hard sell Tupperware parties that you might have in the 70s. I want to shift the conversation slightly from that, and I'll come back to that point in a minute because I think it's important. I want to talk about technology and the triangular conversation and something that I call the digital three-way. Now, it's not what you're thinking. This is what we refer to as the digital three-way. How many of you have been out in a cafe or hung out with your friends or been in a restaurant or any public social place, for example, and seen two people having a conversation with their digital device, with their tablet or their phone or whatever, and one person will bring something up and they'll go, oh my God, you must look at this, and then they show it to the other person. The other person will tap something on the same screen. And it's a new social phenomenon of using technology in a triangular conversation. The old model of digital technology was a publishing model, and it still works for many platforms. But it's interesting to observe that there's a new way of interacting digitally. So I want to talk to you about Pete's revolutionary consultation experience because it is based on the triangular conversation. The idea that the stylist, the client, and the technology together can interact to get the best outcome for the client and the stylist. And it's really based on this triangular conversation. PIIQ is a digital mirror. It's a 600 millimeter wide by 900 millimeter high mirror, so it's almost a meter high and just over half a meter wide. It comes with 3 mounting systems. It can sit on the bench in front of you. It can be wall mounted, much like you would mount a flat screen TV. It's very slimline. It's about, I'm holding my fingers up here for those of you that are just listening, but it's about, you know, 2-3 centimeters deep. And it can also be hung on a track and wire system from the ceiling. It comes with a custom-built handheld tablet, which integrates with the stylist and client experience to give that digital three-way and to really enhance the client experience. So I just wanted to give you a little insight into what the actual device is so that you could understand how we've integrated the new digital three-way into solving those problems in the salon industry that have plagued us for many, many years. Now, I'm going to hope that you can hear the audio on this. I'm going to play you a little video to show you what the stylist's experience of PIIQ is. And this is, when you saw the video of Tabitha, this is what I showed her in that video at Hair Expo. Let me just check that the volume's up, full noise. That's off. Let's go all the way up to there and click play for you.
Sign in at any PIIQ pod in the salon to view your appointments and client history. Discover everything you need to know about your client's styling habits, lifestyle preferences, and color history through a quick, interactive visual lifestyle quiz. Your client can instantly share their insights at the tap of a button, tagging your salon automatically. Line up your client's face to the grid, and 120-point facial recognition technology gives you a face shape and eye color analysis and matches your client with 5 celebrities who share the same features. You determine and enter the client's hair texture and density from a drop-down menu. You can be an integral part of PIIQ's ongoing machine learning by overriding the automatically generated analysis and manually entering your own face shape and eye color observations. The Celebrity Match gives your client a truly targeted consultation, comparing their preferences with an icon that actually shares similar features. Here's another opportunity for your client to share, again tagging your salon. Armed with the information you need and with the client feeling like you really get them, you're ready to make your suggestions for the best cut and colour for them, and it only took a couple of minutes. During the service, you'll see prompts on the mirror reminding you and your client to discuss their ultimate hair care regime and what you'll need to maintain your style at home. It's a lot easier to recommend product to someone who's interested, and it takes away the need to find the right moment to awkwardly instigate the conversation. You make your professional recommendation on the handheld tablet and hand it to them while you continue the service. While you carry on with their hair, they can find out more about the recommended products, and when they're ready, choose to collect the products from reception on the way out or have you ship them to them at home. Either way, you don't have to have the difficult "did you want to take those products?" conversation at the end of the service. Once you're happy with your masterpiece, you'll take a 360-degree capture of the finished look to store on their records for the next visit. And while they're sitting there looking their best, with PIIQ's enhanced selfie lighting, you might as well grab a quick snap to share with the world their new do and show their friends how amazing their stylist is by automatically tagging your salon.
So I wanted to share with you a little bit of feedback from the industry. We have been running some pilots with a couple of prototype, what we're calling PIIQ pods in salons. And what's really interesting is that the things that I've talked to you about in terms of the client consultation have been what we've really based our the entire business on. And the idea is that we really want to enhance the client experience by giving them those things that they're asking for in a consultation. And we want to empower the stylist to do their job better. And every decision we make is based on those 2 pillars. Does it empower the stylist? We don't want to disempower the stylist and take away their knowledge and their expertise. We want to give them a platform to bounce off, and we want to make sure that the client has a better experience. So we've had the 2018 New Zealand Hairdresser of the Year running with one of the pods in his salon, and some of the feedback that he said it's been an amazing tool to use. That the people, his clients particularly, love and enjoy using it, and they're really excited for their next visit, particularly from the 360-degree capture of the finished look. He said, "I've enjoyed using PIIQ because it doesn't take up any more time in his appointments." And he runs on a 45-minute appointment schedule, so he loves that it doesn't take up any more time, but informs him a lot more. What he felt is that it instantly becomes really personal, and it takes his relationship with clients to the next level because it's immediately about them. It definitely brought up the question of products really, really easily and made for easier sales. He said, "I'm truly in love with PIIQ, and I can honestly say I couldn't not have it now." So I don't know what he's going to do when I have to take it out of the salon. I wanted to share with you a little bit about what clients were saying as well. So a previous salon owner who's now a client said, "Holy shit, this is amazing. It's taken it to the next level and covers everything." Another client said, "I love that it doesn't take you away from me as you're still included in doing it with me." And that's that that triangular conversation. I don't know if any of you watching are in the beauty business, beauty therapy business, but I know that one of the things that estheticians and beauty therapists are taught is not to leave their clients, so not to disengage the touch. And when you're recommending product, often it's all about the maintaining your physical connection with the client. So for me, it was really important that the retail recommendation part of PIIQ happened organically during the process and didn't cause the stylist to have to leave the client at any point. Somebody else thought it was really fun to do, and girls are saying this, they really just like engaging in that lifestyle analysis and seeing what celebrity they match with. The 360 image was amazing. It made this particular client feel like anybody could nail her style next time, and in particular it made her feel like she could be really loyal to the salon, because if her stylist left, she comes back and on her records is 360-degree capture from last time. Stylists, when they're talking about the retail recommendation part, they feel that it's really easy. The how-tos and ingredients on the product page made it a lot easier for them, because it took the pressure off them to explain every ingredient and to know every ingredient and to be some kind of a science expert. It really meant that the details were there for the client to explore, and the stylist could carry on with their work. Then they didn't feel as, I didn't feel as I was recommending at all, as it was on their own terms to look. This one client, for example, wanted to buy everything because she felt like she was online shopping. And actually, because there was no pressure on her to buy anything, she just kept saying, oh, can you show me something else? What else have you got? Can I look at styling product? Can I look at this? Can I look at that? Can I look at tools? So there was a real opportunity just to make it feel like a very, not a sales process, but a natural online shopping project. Now, this was the big one for me. 63% of the clients using PIIQ bought retail. That's up from somebody who was already double the industry standard, almost 3 times the industry standard. He was at well over 28% on week selling retail. He's gone all the way up to 63% of his clients purchasing retail, resulting in more than 20% of his total revenue being made up from retail sales, which is really phenomenal. And he just felt like that was super easy because he's hitting his KPIs, no dramas. So let's talk about social media and let's talk about communication. One time, in a land long ago and far away, there was no internet. Before the internet, we considered there to be three ways to get a message out. One of them was telephone, television, and telehairdresser. Now, we are people in the people business. We talk, they talk, we share, we're creating communities. We're actually, we're the original social network, the hair salon. And it's really interesting today when you think about social media, because it's such an important part of networking your business and building your business. And I wanted to give you a couple of examples. Peter Thompson's got a salon called Chelsea Haircutters, and they are in a very small town about 2 hours south of Sydney on the coast. Very, very small town. His business is globally recognized. He has 176,000 followers. He does beautiful work. He takes great pictures for his Instagram, and his social media feed has helped his business grow incredibly to the point where he's completely slammed. Another great example is Natalie Ann, who does a very different kind of work. She's more of a wedding stylist, a bridal specialist. And Natalie Ann has nearly 450,000 followers. Again, she's got a pumping salon. She takes over 400 phone calls a day from people trying to make appointments. She has 2 full-time receptionists literally just taking calls and trying to book appointments non-stop. And she works very hard on her social media to build her business. Again, her salon is in the western suburbs, in a small part of Sydney that is not, there's not a lot of foot traffic. It's not a very bustling area, but her business is pumping. So if you go to any business seminar today, A social media expert will talk to you about improving your social media, and rightly so, because you need to do it if you want to grow your business. How many of you guys have got one of these selfie lights in the salon? Look, the traditional model of social media is that you need to take good pictures. It goes without saying. You've got to take good pictures for your social feed, and you've got to post regularly, and you've got to tag. Now, if you think about it from a client point of view, if I'm the client and I've been at the salon for 2.5 hours, I was expecting to be there for 2 hours, and I love you, and I love my hair, but I got to get out of here because I've got kids to pick up, I've got a meeting to get to, my personal trainer's waiting for me, whatever, my life is busy and I've got to get out of here and I'm already a half an hour over. What you're going to do now is ask me to come over to a special part of the salon and stand in front of a bright light in front of everybody and take a photo. You're going to put me under the spotlight, literally, to take a picture of me. Now, I love you and I love my hair, and I'm going to do it for you because, you know, you've asked me to and we get on well, and I want to help you with your business. But it's not necessarily the easiest conversation to have with a client. So let's say you get your photo looks great, you take the selfie, you post it on your feed, you do all the right hashtags, and new clients discover your post. And the ultimate outcome is that you get to attract new clients. Now, what you're doing is building an online portfolio, whether it be on Facebook or Instagram, of the sort of work that you and your salon does, so that you can show potential new clients your business. Makes perfect sense, right? And that is actually traditionally the correct way to do your social media feed, as any expert will tell you. Let me talk to you about social media with PIIQ. Now, I've got some funny little numbers here. I don't know if you noticed that the PIIQ mirror actually has built-in selfie lighting. It has a built-in camera. And so when it's not being used, it's a mirror. It looks completely like a mirror and nothing else. But when the selfie lights come on, they're built into the mirror. When the camera comes on, you can't see it, but it's in there. Now, imagine, for example, you had 10 clients per day sitting in your chair. Let's say you do 22 days a month. I don't know, does that seem reasonable? That's 5.5 days a week, let's say. So that would be 220 clients a month coming through your chair. Let's say each of those 220 clients has 200 friends / followers. I think that's probably on the low side, but you know, it's probably about right, 200 friends or followers, which means that you can potentially reach 44,000 people organically. Now, there's 3 opportunities to post per service. The first opportunity is on the 9-point lifestyle analysis. So you discover what sort of architecture, beauty icons, cars, interior designs, your morning hairstyling routine, your color history. You get a 9-point lifestyle analysis, and that's really interesting to share. You can tag your salon. The second opportunity is the celebrity match. So this is my face shape and eye color analysis, and these are the 5 celebrities I look like. Hashtag your salon. And the last one is their selfie of their finished look, which happens in the chair, in the bubble, in the confines of their little personal kind of relationship space with you. They don't have to get up, stand in front of a lot of other people. It just happens right there in the chair. So that gives you 132,000 potential organic reach per pod or per mirror per month. Now, I know that's a lot of numbers and a lot of stats, but I think Timmy, who's 6.5, probably did a very good job of describing that visually. That means exponential growth in terms of your social footprint. Now, you got to ask yourself the question: do you want a linear program or exponential potential growth for your social feed, attracting more clients like your clients' friends? And this is going back to the old model, pre-internet, of tele-hairdresser. Now, I know that we have talked about a lot of stuff. We've talked about the psychology of the emotional relationship between hairdresser and client. We've talked about the importance of consultation. We've talked about what a client wants from their consultation, and we've talked about what we are doing as a consultation. We've discovered some pretty alarming stats, and I've shared with you a little insight into this revolutionary new consultation methodology. Of course, if you want any more details, jump on peakprime.com or contact Katomba for more details. Thank you.
Fabulous. Thanks, Richard. That was really interesting. And I look forward as a customer going along to a salon where that is, because I think that's really exciting. Cool. Now, I have had a couple of comments in the question pane that they couldn't hear very well for that last video. So when I do the recording and send it out, I'll make sure that I might need to get you to send me the actual copy of the video, but we'll sort that out before we send the video out to you. But if anybody else has got any questions, now's the time to pop those into the question pane, and we can ask Richard while he's here. We'll just wait for people to pop those up. Okay, some of those numbers are pretty impressive, Richard, at the end there. That's a lot of people.
It's a lot of people, right? And it's interesting when you start to extrapolate out those numbers. You know, some of the other numbers that we've extrapolated out are the profitability from retail. So if you look at the experience that some of the stylists have had using it, where we're getting up to 63% of clients purchasing retail, that's a stylist doing $5,000 worth of services a week is doing around $1,000 worth of retail a week through PIIQ. Now, if you think that the profit margin on most product is, you know, it's 100% markup or 50% margin, so about half of that is profit. So if he can do that every week, that's 25 grand profit per annum from one stylist in extra retail sales.
Wow, that's really impressive. Okay, I've got some questions popping up here now. First question from Diana is, what's the investment?
Oh, hi, Diana. That's a great question. So the investment varies depending on the number of pods you get. There are two ways to buy into it. Think of it like a cell phone plan. So you can either do a no upfront payments and a simple monthly payment plan. One mirror is around $250 a month, and at the end of your 2-year plan, you would own the hardware outright, and you would then go on to the software as a service plan. The software bundle is included in that for 2.5 years, so more or less like your cell phone plan. And the simple way to think about that is that if you sell one extra product every 2 days, then it's cost neutral for the salon. Now, the more mirrors you get, there's a sliding discount scale, and if you wanted to drop us a note, the team could get back in touch with you and give you a more detailed pricing. There's a sliding discount sale, so the more you get, the cheaper it gets. I think when you get down to 5 or 6 plus, it gets down to around 180 bucks a month per mirror, so it makes it even more easy to be cost neutral. And then the other option is to buy the mirror outright and have a software as a service plan. Depending on how many mirrors you get, I think they're around about $4,000 each, or just under, and then about 80 bucks a month for the software.
Cool, thanks, Richard. Okay, and next question is, it all seems great. Does it systematically have to bring on celebrities as suggestions?
That's a good question. Does it systematically have to bring on celebrities as suggestions? The facial recognition and facial analysis part of the program actually uses, as I said, 120-point facial recognition technology, and then it matches, it gives you a basic face shape outline output, so one of the 6 face shapes, but it actually matches 120 points, things like the width of the eyebrows, the distance from the hairline to the eyebrow, the distance from the corner of the eye to the corner of the nose, the distance from the bottom lip to the chin, etc. And it uses those 120 points to match your client with 5 celebrities that share the same features. So short answer is yes, it matches with 5 celebrities. The celebrity match is different for every person, and when your client sees those 5 celebrities, they can select one of those celebrities to explore further their hairstyles through the latest Google image search. So if you think about it, something like if you went into Google and let's say as a celebrity, for example, you went Brad Pitt hairstyles, it would come up with a series of images. That's more or less what PIIQ is doing. So your client gets to choose which of the 5 celebrities they want to explore the hairstyles of, but yes, it does match celebrities.
Great, thank you. Our next question, can you set the retail products that you stock into the system only?
That's a great question, yeah. So PIIQ actually talks to Katoomba through some sort of digital jiggery-pokery that I won't go into too much detail with, but it speaks to Katoomba and extracts your inventory. So it only shows your inventory and pricing on there. In other words, it shows the products that you stock.
Great. Okay, and that probably comes to the next question. I've got to, just stop back to this question. How often is the PIIQ software updated?
Good question. So PIIQ software is updated on a regular basis. It's usually updated overnight, and it's automatically pushed through as an update or upgrade. There's a very comprehensive timeline of upgrades and improvements. We've got a lot of really exciting extra technological pieces that we're building into PIIQ to help hairdressers do their jobs better. One of those is a voice to text note-taking system. So for example, when you've done your client consultation and you might want to talk to your colorist or technician about what color to mix, you would simply speak into the tablet, mix up 3/4 of a tube of XYZ with 1/4 of a tube of blah, 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 and 75 mils of X volume peroxide, blah, 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 and then apply it to this area and that area. That would then be taken as a note for their records, so voice to text, and stored on their records as a written note. So that's one of the software upgrades. We've got a lot of other stuff, but those will be happening on a regular basis, probably on a monthly cycle, and they'll be pushed through overnight when your system is asleep.
Great, thank you. And of course, there's another question here. How does it integrate with Katoomba?
Very good question. Well, it does integrate with Katoomba, and we're very happy and proud to be fully integrated with Katoomba. So what happens is you use your Katoomba system to manage your business at whatever level you use it. All that PIIQ does is it has a little chat with Katoomba and says what appointments has each stylist got today, and when the stylist logs in with their PIN code at PIIQ, it brings up their Katoomba appointments for the day. And it also links with Katoomba in terms of product inventory and pricing.
Okay, great, thank you very much. Okay, I've got another questions popping up here. I've got some comments saying very cool. It sounds really, really amazing. Okay, so how many PIIQ mirrors do you put into the trial salon, and how many are recommended per team? Is it 1 mirror each stylist, etc.?
Yeah, that's a really good question. And look, we're bringing a piece of technology into the industry that has never been seen before. We've had to literally invent every piece of this product out of a dream. And the answer to that question is that we're not really sure. So we are actually piloting over the next couple of weeks a series of salons with 1 pod in, 1 with a pod at every mirror, and 1 with a pod at half the mirrors, and so that we can get some really clear data about how we can extrapolate out the performance of 1 mirror versus multiple mirrors. Now, I'm hearing from people that they don't want to just have 1 in their salon because they feel like some of their stylists who are potentially a little weaker in those KPIs would really benefit from having PIIQ, and they don't want them to miss out. Also, clients sitting in the salon are seeing lights come on and you know, digital display on the mirror and wondering what's going on over there, why can't I have it? So they don't want clients to miss out. However, they're also saying we don't want it at every single mirror because sometimes we're going to want to just have a quiet space. So I guess my sense from industry feedback is that most salons are thinking that they would put them at around 50 to 75% of their stations.
Great. And our time is nearly up, so I've got one more question. When are they available?
Good question. When are they available? So if you go to www.peakprime.com, we're actually taking applications for the first 100 salons to come on board. Those pods will be delivered in September. And yeah, so September, it's available to order now.
Great. So get in quick before I send out the video to everybody. Cool. So thank you very much, Richard. That was really, really interesting. I'm sure everybody has got a lot out of it. Thank you very much, everybody, and have a fantastic rest of the day.
Thanks, guys. Bye.